Imagine a man so wealthy that his generosity crushed entire economies. A king whose single journey caused inflation that lasted for decades. A ruler who commanded so much gold that European map makers drew him, sitting on a throne of pure wealth, dominating the African continent. His name was Mansa Musa, and in 1324 he embarked on a pilgrimage that would change the world's understanding of Africa forever. When he passed through Cairo with a caravan of 60,000 men, 12,000 slaves dressed in Persian silk, and 80 camels, each carrying 300 pounds of gold, the Egyptian economy collapsed under the weight of his spending. Historians estimate his wealth at over $400 billion in today's money, making him possibly the richest human being who ever lived. But this is not just a story about gold. This is the story of Mali, an empire that stretched across West Africa like a golden colossus, an empire built on intelligence, trade, faith, and power, an empire that the world forgot, but one that shaped the course of African and global history. Stay with us as we uncover the hidden truth of Mansa Musa and the Mali Empire. Welcome to Africa Hidden History. Today we journey back to the 14th century, to the heart of West Africa, where one of the most powerful empires in human history thrived in splendor and sophistication. This documentary explores the reign of Mansa Musa, the 10th Mansa, or emperor, of the Mali Empire, who ruled from 1312 to 1337. We will walk through the golden cities of Timbuktu and Gao, stand in the great halls of Niani, and follow the legendary pilgrimage to Mecca that announced Mali's presence to the entire Islamic world. But more than that, we will examine the Mali Empire itself, how it rose to dominate West Africa, how it controlled the gold and sword trade that fueled medieval economies, and how it became a center of learning, culture, and Islamic scholarship that rivaled any institution in Europe or the Middle East. We will meet the architects of this empire, the scholars who filled its libraries, the merchants who walked its trade routes, and the warriors who defended its borders. And we will uncover the hidden truths, the stories that textbooks ignore, the African innovations that shaped global trade, and the legacy that continues to echo through West Africa today. This is not a story of savagery or backwardness. This is a story of brilliance, wealth, faith, and power. This is the story of how Africa stood at the center of the medieval world. Let us begin. The year is 1312. Across the world, great civilizations rise and fall. In Europe, the Middle Ages grip the continent. The Black Death looms on the horizon. Kings fight over territories. The Catholic Church dominates spiritual and political life. Cities are small, dirty, and disease-ridden. Most Europeans cannot read or write. In the Middle East, the Mamluk Sultanate controls Egypt and Syria. The Abbasid Caliphate has fragmented. Islamic scholarship flourishes in Baghdad, Damascus, and Cairo. The Mongol invasions have reshaped Asia. In China, the Yuan dynasty under Mongol rule connects the Silk Road from east to west. Marco Polo's accounts of the East fascinate European courts. And in West Africa, an empire rises that will eclipse them all in wealth and grandeur, the Mali Empire. To understand Mali, you must first understand the land. Picture the Sahel, a vast belt of semi-arid grassland stretching across Africa just south of the Sahara Desert. Here the landscape shifts between desert sands and fertile river valleys. The Niger River cuts through this region like a lifeline, bringing water, fish, and transportation to millions. This is a land of contrasts, scorching days and cool nights, rainy seasons that turn dust into mud, dry seasons that crack the earth. Baobab trees rise like ancient sentinels. Villages cluster around water sources. Traders traverse paths worn smooth by centuries of caravans. To the north lies the Sahara, endless, unforgiving, deadly to those unprepared. But for those who know its secrets, the desert is a highway. Trans-Saharan trade routes connect West Africa to North Africa, the Mediterranean, and the Islamic world. To the south lie forests rich with resources, cola nuts, ivory, and exotic goods that northern merchants crave. And beneath the soil, in the riverbeds, in hidden mines known only to local peoples, lies gold. Unimaginable quantities of gold. This gold will make Mali the wealthiest empire on earth. Long before Mali, this region saw the rise of great kingdoms. The Ghana Empire dominated West Africa from the 6th to the 11th centuries. Despite its name, ancient Ghana was located northwest of modern Ghana, in what is now Mauritania and Mali. Ghana controlled the gold-sought trade and grew fabulously wealthy. Arab scholars wrote of Ghana's king holding court in a pavilion surrounded by horses draped in gold cloth, with pages carrying gold-hilted swords and shields of gold. But Ghana fell. Overextension, internal strife, and invasion by the Almoravids weakened the empire. By the 13th century, Ghana had collapsed into smaller kingdoms. From the ruins, a new power emerged, the Soso kingdom under the Sorcerer king Sumanguru Kante, who conquered the fragmented territories and ruled through fear and iron. But Sumanguru's tyranny would not last. The story of Mali begins with a prophecy and a young prince named Sundiata Keita. According to the oral tradition passed down by griots, the historian storytellers of West Africa, Sundiata was born around 1217 in the small kingdom of Kangaba. His mother was Sogolon, often called the Buffalo Woman. Prophecy declared that Sundiata would become a great king, but young Sundiata was sickly and could not walk. His people mocked him. When his father died, rivals drove Sundiata and his mother into exile. Years passed. Sundiata grew strong, and when Sumanguru Kante conquered Kangaba and oppressed the Mandinka people, the exiled prince returned. In 1235, at the Battle of Kirina, Sundiata defeated Sumanguru using both military strategy and psychological warfare. Legend says that Sundiata discovered Sumanguru's weakness, a fear of the spear of a white rooster, and used it to break the Sorcerer King's power. Sundiata united the Mandinka clans and established the Mali Empire with its capital at Niani. He created the Kurukan Fuga, a constitution that established laws, promoted trade, and protected the environment. Sundiata ruled until around 1255, laying the foundation for an empire that would dominate West Africa for centuries. By the time Mansa Musa ascended to power in 1312, the Mali Empire had grown into a giant. Mali stretched over 1,000 miles from the Atlantic coast to beyond the Niger Bend. It encompassed modern-day Mali, Senegal, Gambia, Guinea, Mauritania, and parts of Niger and Burkina Faso. Millions of people lived under Mali's rule. The empire controlled two precious commodities that the medieval world desperately needed: gold and salt. The gold came from the Bambuk and Bure gold fields, rich deposits that produced half of the world's gold supply during this period. European and Islamic currencies depended on West African gold. Without it, their economies would collapse. The salt came from mines deep in the Sahara, particularly Tagaza, where slabs of salt were cut from the earth and transported south. In the hot, humid regions of West Africa, salt was essential for preserving food, maintaining health, and seasoning meals. It was so valuable that it was traded pound for pound with gold in some markets. Mali sat at the crossroads of these trade routes. Caravans from North Africa brought salt, cloth, horses, and books. Caravans from the south brought gold, ivory, kola nuts, and enslaved people. In cities like Timbuktu, Gao, Djenné, and Niani, merchants from across Africa, the Middle East, and even Europe conducted business. Mali grew wealthy beyond imagination. Mansa Musa's full title was Musa Keita I. He was born around 1280, a member of the Keita dynasty that Sundiata had established. How Musa came to power remains debated. According to some accounts, the previous Mansa, Abubakar II, was obsessed with exploring the Atlantic Ocean. He organized a fleet of 200 ships to sail west and discover what lay beyond the horizon. Abubakar II never returned. In his absence, Musa, serving as deputy, became Mansa. Mansa Musa was intelligent, devout, and ambitious. He was a practicing Muslim in an empire where Islam and traditional African religions coexisted. He understood both the spiritual importance of Hajj, the pilgrimage to Mecca, and the political importance of displaying Mali's wealth and power to the Islamic world. He ruled with a combination of religious devotion, strategic intelligence, and overwhelming generosity. His reign would last 25 years and transform Mali into a legend. The Mali Empire was not a chaotic collection of tribes. It was a sophisticated state with a complex government structure. At the top sat the Mansa, the emperor whose word was law. But the Mansa did not rule alone. Below him were the provincial governors called Fabas, who managed distant territories and collected taxes. Each province maintained local traditions while remaining loyal to the empire. The royal council consisted of nobles, religious leaders, and military commanders who advised the Mansa on matters of state. Griots served as historians, advisors, and diplomats, preserving oral traditions and negotiating between kingdoms. The military was organized and disciplined with cavalry units, infantry, and archers. Mali's army numbered in the tens of thousands and could be mobilized quickly to defend borders or expand territory. A judicial system based on both Islamic law and traditional customs maintained order. Markets were regulated, trade routes were protected, crimes were punished. This was not a primitive society. This was a functioning empire with bureaucracy, laws, and institutions.